Hello friends, welcome to TechBizSoft. So the topic that we are going to cover is abstractions. Actually abstraction I have to start before starting the object class, but I skip that from my mind. So I thought like I should make it in middle of the object class only, so no worries that whichever series of the object class is remaining, right, that I will cover after this abstraction concepts only, because it is one of the most important features of object-oriented programming. And when you will work on the framework, right, you will use that a lot in day-to-day work actually. Okay, so let's understand what is abstraction. So abstraction, as name suggests, abstraction in Java is a fundamental object-oriented programming concepts that hide the implementation details while showing only essential features, right? So what does it means, like hiding the implementation details and while showing only essential features? That we will look when do we implement it, right, to the users. It is achieved through the abstract class and interface. So these are the two ways we have to implement that abstraction, either abstract class or interface. So we have seen till yet only the class, that simple class, how can we create it. Today we will see how to create abstract class and how to create interface as well. All three we will look on it, right? So now let's go to the IDE directly and we'll understand. Let me repeat the definition. It is object-oriented, I can say concepts, fundamental object-oriented programming concepts, right, which is used to showing only the essential features, right, and hiding the implementation. How does it hide the implementation? That we are going to understand that, right? Now directly let's come to the IDE only, and here I'm creating a new package under the Java and I will give the name is abstraction. Okay, inside abstraction I'm creating a one class, say like my class. Okay, it could be like simple only. So as we have seen, right, if you create any class, you can create a one method on it, right? So I can write it like void test method. It could be any method, right? So when do we write the method? That time we do give this, right, curly braces open and curly braces close. What does it mean? What does it define? It does define whatever I will write inside it, right, that is called body of the method. Body of the method. So whatever classes that we have seen from beginning to till last session, right, or today also, that was we have seen that class which was having a method only, that will having a like body of the method, right? Today we are going to understand if you want to write this type of method, right? Suppose I want to write a method like test1. Here I am not going to write a body, I am simply writing a semicolon after it. So when you will write the semicolon after that, right, without writing the curly braces, this type of method is called abstract method. So this method comes under the abstract method category, right? This is called abstract method. And whatever method that we are writing here, right, that method comes under the category called concrete method. Concrete method. So there is a two type of method we can design in a class, either concrete method or abstract method. Concrete method can be designed in any of the class. Any of the class I am talking about. It could be an abstract class, it could be an interface, or it could be in a simple class. In interface, it will be not like a normal, that I will tell you the different scenario. Right now you have to understand that concrete method can be designed either in abstract class or in a normal class, right? But abstract class can be create only the abstract class. So you can see here, if I am writing this, right, semicolon, it is giving me one error. What error it is saying? Can you see here? The method body or abstract modifier expected. That means I have to write abstract keyword before it, right? First of all, after abstract keyword, again it is starting that crying. It is saying that abstract method is non-abstract class. That means if you want to write a method which could be abstract, that will always fix a keyword called abstract. And abstract keyword, I can keep only those classes which are having abstract class only. So this time this class is behaving like a normal class where I don't have a like option to write abstract. So what I will do here, I will write abstract keyword with the class also, right? This time there will not be any issue, it will fine. So always remember that abstract class, if you want to write abstract method, right, abstraction can be implemented using the abstract method, abstract class only, and abstract class will having abstract method. And the definition which we are looking here, right, that hide the implementation details while showing only the essential feature to the user, right? So what we are doing here, what we are hiding? We are hiding the complete body of the method to the user, and what we are showing only that essential name of the method only, right? Wherever is body required we can use them, but right now we are not giving any body of the method, right? So that's why we are writing abstract void test1, right? So this method is called abstract method. Abstract method is a way to implement the abstraction, and abstraction if you want to implement we have to use the abstract class. So always remember that if you want to keep abstract method, right, you have to write the abstract class for it. Otherwise we cannot write abstract method. If I will remove the abstract, that time it will be a normal class, concrete class, which will having only the concrete method, which cannot having any abstract method, right? So that is abstract class, and abstract class having a one method test1, which is also look like a abstract only, right? Now what is the use of this method? I'm not giving any body of this method, right? I'm not giving anything of it. Then who will use that and how we can use it? So abstract method always will be used in the child class only, right? Where we can use in the child class. So I will create a one child class of it, right? That I can say like it's my class child, something like that. My class child. This time it will be normal class, and if we will extend my class, right? So here you can see that my class child, it is extending the my class, and my class is a one kind of abstract class. My class is a one kind of abstract class, and here there is a no method I have written. So this time it is giving me error, right? So it is saying that my class is an incomplete class. Actually abstract class always look like an incomplete class because this method is not completed yet. This method is not completed yet. So if you are extending this class anywhere, right, what you have to do, you can see it is giving you one suggestion, implement the method. Implement method means override the method. So when I will click on it, right, it is asking only one method is abstract only, that we have to implement it. Only abstract method we have to override it. The non-abstract method is optional to override. We can override or we can escape it. There is no forceful, I can say, compulsion for it, right? So I am overriding the test1 method here, but test is optional. We can override or we can escape also, right? So this time you can see that the test1 method implementation or test1 method body is given by whom? That is given by the child class only. So that is a reason of abstraction. Abstraction will say that you can create the abstract class, right? And abstract class will having abstract method, but the abstract method will be override or will be a body, or you can give a body of the class into a child class only. So child class itself is responsible to give a body of this method. So here I can write system.out.print, and here I can say like this is from my class child test, my class child test 1, something like that, right? So instead that test1 method, what I'm doing here, I'm writing this is the from my class child test1. Now how to create object of this class, that we are going to understand. So now I'm going to create a new class like test here, right? And the test, we are going to write a one main method, right? In the main method, what I will do here, right? What I will do here, I have my class having a two method, test method and test1 method. Test1 is a concrete method, test1 is a abstract method, right? And here in the my class child, we have overridden only the abstract method. We did not override the test method because test method is not abstract method, right? So now here we can see what I will do, how to create object of it. So this time the object that do we create, always create the reference of the parent class and object of the implementation class, which is nothing like a my class child only, right? So that is a way to use it. That is a way to use it. So if I will write here am my class child, and I can call both class the method here. I can call the test and I can call the test1 also. am.test1. So this time test method it will call directly from the my class itself, right? Because test method we did not override. So what does it do? First it will look that class where it is having a my class child, right? So my class child, does it having a test? No, right? So it will directly go and call from the my class. But test1 method we have, right, that is having under the my class, so it will call the my class test1 only. Now one thing I want to tell you here, we have covered one concept called overriding, right? So overriding, that I mean the previous way that we were saying that the parent class was having a method, the same method we were writing under the child, right? Let's say I'm creating here one more method here, like test2 method, suppose void test2 method. So the previous scenario, what we were saying, that we were writing a concrete method, and the concrete method we were overriding. So here we can write the test2 method and we were override that, right? This time at that moment I am overriding the test2 method, right? Test2 method is overriding into the child class. So here suppose writing the body of this method, right? Writing the body of this method, body of the method, I invested suppose 10 minutes. I'm just thinking on it, okay? It could be more than that as well, depending on the code, right? So this time test2 method, I have given the body, right? Please understand, that is one of the important part, okay? Test2 method, I am writing here that I am investing the time of 10 minutes here, right? In the child class, again, I am overriding the method, and here also I am investing the same like 10 minutes, okay? Here also I am investing the time like 10 minutes. So this time what happened, right? This time what happened, right? If I will call the test2 method here, right? m.test2. This time what happened, right? Here test2 method is present in the my class child only, right? So it will directly go and call the my class child only. So my class child test2 will call. But does this parent class test2 will call? No, it will not call, right? So that means the time which I invested here like 10 minutes, that is a completely waste, right? So I know that I have to perform the overriding. I have to give the different body in the child class. Then why I should go with the concrete class? I will always go with the abstract class. So always remember that whenever you are doing overriding concepts, right? Always go with the abstract method only. Don't go with the concrete method. Reason I told you, because if you will go with the concrete method, right? The time you invested to write the parent class method body, right? That is a completely wasted, because it is not going to use anyway. It is going to override by the child class. But yeah, you are 100% sure that, like for example, test case, I'm thinking, okay, in the test case, I'm not going to override this method anyway, because the code will remain the same in all the implementation class, all the child class. That time this method I can give a body, right? That method could be a concrete method, right? So abstract class will having a both type of method, abstract method and concrete method, where abstract method can be override or must be override into a child class, where concrete method, that is optional, we can override or we can skip also. But as a programming rule does say that, if you are creating that concrete method, right, please do not override that into a child class. If you want to override it, right, please make it abstract, so you can minimize the number of time which you are investing here to write the body of this particular method, because anyway abstract method is going to override into a child class, right? So this time what happened, right? I am creating this here my class m. So m.test, it is calling the my class test. m.test1, it is calling the my class child, because I override the test1, right? And test2 method we already overrided, so it will call the my class child only. But if you do not want to override, you can directly call from the parent also, right? So that is a simple formula of abstraction, right? Abstraction, always remember that we cannot create object of the abstract class. That is also one of the rule. Like for example, I can't write here my class m1 equal to new my class, okay? If you will do it right, it will be compile time error. The reason is that abstract class cannot, because my class is abstract class here, right? We have added the abstract keyword. So abstract class cannot be instantiated. The reason is that the abstract class always will like incomplete only. Why it is incomplete? Because it is having abstract method, and abstract method is what? The method which will not having any type of body, right? So if the method is not having a body, that method comes under the incomplete method. And if incomplete method is there in the class, that means class itself is called incomplete. And if something is incomplete, you cannot create object of this particular class. So remember that abstract class cannot be instantiated, right? So let me write down this here. Abstract class, like we cannot create object of abstract class, right? But yeah, if you want to make it constructor, so one of the important interview questions. Can we make it constructor inside the abstract class? Yes, we can create it, no problem, right? Constructor cannot be overridden, that I told you when I was covering this overriding mechanism, right? That time I told you this one, constructor cannot be overridden. Abstract class can have a constructor, no problem on it, right? And one more thing here, let me write down this also here. Abstract class can have a constructor. Abstract class can have constructor, right? And if I will declare some variable here, right, suppose int of x, right, I am putting some value on it. So this variable will be non-static and non-final, right? That also you have to keep in mind, right? The variable of abstract class by default what it is? Non-final and non-static, right? That means you can keep it, but we do not do that, because for this non-final for final static, right, there is one more topic is coming called interface, right? That time we will see that interface can have a final method as well as a static method, right? So this is a basics idea about abstract class. Abstract class is a class which will having abstract method and non-abstract method, both type of method. It will having a constructor as well, right? And whenever we are extending the abstract class, we have to override the abstract method, right? I mean test one abstract method, right? Non-abstract method is optional, we can override or we can skip it. But always remember that whenever you are going to use abstraction in the parent, please do not give any concrete method which you are going to override. If you want to override it, right, please make it abstract only. That will give you a lot of plus benefit. And abstraction is one of the important part of the programming. When you will work on the framework, that time also we will follow this abstractions rule, right? Corresponding that with the abstraction, having a one more name, right? One more thing is called interfaces. So now we are going to understand what is the interface, right? So let me create a one new Java class. So let's say here I'm giving this my interface, something like that. Okay, this time I will not click on the class, I will click on the interface, right? Because interface comes in a different category. Okay, interface comes in a different category, right? So I will pick the interface and I will click on enter. So this time you can see that with name of the my interface, I am getting a name like interface, right? So that's the interface here. And before the class it was abstract class, right? Because we are covering the abstraction, right? So abstraction can be implemented by the abstract class or interface, that we have seen in the definition itself, right? So abstract class we have covered it. Now we are going to cover interfaces. What is the interface, right? So see here, I created one my interface. So first of all, let's understand what is the interface, right? Interface is a type of class, is an type of class, but having some difference. The first difference is that what? Interface cannot have a constructor. First of all, interface cannot have constructor, right? Second difference is that the variable which I will create, in interface, that will be public and static. Okay, so whatever variable I will create under the interface, that will be public and static, right? Next, what is that? If interface let me write this, interface having concrete method is a method which will having a body, right? Concrete method in the form of default and static, or and both, right? Default and static, right? In normal class, it may be having a like normal concrete method will having and default and non-static as well. But in the abstract class, in interface, if you want to keep it, right, that could be in the form of default and static, that we will understand. this feature default and static method can be written in interface that added in Java 8 onwards, right? So interface having a concrete method in the form of default and static method, right? So this point Java has added from the Java 8 version onwards. From the Java 7 onwards, right? If you're using Java 7, right, this feature is not able to access on it. This feature will be accessible only from the Java 8 onwards. So interface having a concrete method in the form of default and static method, right? So interface abstract class look like same only. So normally what happen, right? When do we create the interface? We do write only the abstract method. So first we will write like void test, right? Like this one. So that time you can see that abstract keyword is also optional. If you can compare this, right? If I was writing the abstract method into a abstract class, right? That time I was keeping the abstract keyword, right? But in interface, abstract keyword is optional, right? Same like here, if you are keeping that variable, right? We will understand that, okay? Right now you have to understand that only abstract keyword is optional, right? With the interface method, we can skip or we can keep it also. If you want, you can keep it also, right? But it is optional actually. Normally we do not keep it because it is by default added on it. So after writing it, there is no sense of it, right? So I am not writing any abstract keyword here. I am writing simply void test only, right? Now let me create one child class of it. So I will write here my interface child. My interface child. So my interface child, what I will do, it will, so remember that interface implements class extend. So I will write here implements only, and implements what I will write this my interface. Then it is started crying. Why it is started crying? It is saying that my interface is having one abstract method. Then you have to override it, right? So what I will do here, I can come here and I will click on this, implement the methods. So it will directly give me, okay, test is one method. Now we have to override this test method. Now one thing you have to understand here, right? By default, I am getting public here. In the interface, I did not write any public, but here I am getting the public, right? But you can compare with the previous scenario, right? In the my class, in the test one, right, I did not write any public, and here I was not getting the public also. But in my interface, I did not write public, but I am getting the public in the overriding. So one thing you have to understand that the method you are writing in the interface, that is by default public, right? And in the class, it is a by default added with the default keyword. But in interface, it is added with the public keyword, right? So that also one point here. The method of the interface is by default what? Public and abstract. So public and abstract, by default public and abstract, we don't have to override, we don't have to write it. If you want to write, if you want, you can skip as well, right? So that is the one scenario for it, right? How can we instantiate them? The same way we have, right? So let me create a new class which could be my interface test, which will having again the main method, and I will write what? My interface, I mean the parent only, equal to new my interface child, right? And here I can simply call am.test method, right? And one more thing here you have to understand that we cannot instantiate interface also. Why? Because it is again abstract only. It is a abstract only. If you want to instantiate the interface, that time it will give me error. It cannot be possible, right? So interface cannot be instantiated. Whenever you want to instantiate interface, we have to take the child class only. So parent reference holding the child object, that is also way of creating the instance of this abstract class. Sorry, interface and abstract class both, and both cannot be instantiated. So this line is wrong because here I am creating object of the interface and it will directly call the test method of the my interface, right? Here we have overridden, right? So let me keep some body of it. So you can understand that system.out.println, and here I can keep like hello interface, something like that, hello interface. Okay, so this time if I will run this class, it is having a main method, right? If I will run this class, it is giving me error somewhere, it is there. Okay, I think here also we have an error, right? So we have to correct that first. So this time you can see that you are getting output like hello interface, right? So that time it is giving me a output, right? And it is calling the test method. Now one question that comes in interview, right? Now here I am going to cover the interview question. What is the interview question? We know that interface doesn't have a interface does not have constructor, right? Right? Where abstract class will have a constructor. That is the difference as well, right? So what is the interview questions? What is the difference between interface and abstract class? Right? So the difference is simply that interface does not have a constructor, abstract class will have a constructor. Right? Now one question will come. Abstract class cannot be instantiated, and we know that how constructor call? How constructor call? Right? It call by the object only. It call by the object only. Now one question will come here. As abstract class, I can't create object, right? As I told you here, right? We can see here, that's a test only here, right? I cannot create object of the abstract class. So one question will come, if we cannot create object of the abstract class, how does the abstract class constructor will call? How this abstract class constructor will call, right? So what happened here, right? Abstract class constructor will be called through the child class only. So whenever it is going to the child class constructor, right? The child class constructor by default is having a what? Super. So this time what happened, right? I will write here my class, my child, right? My child, and inside the my child what I will do, it is by default there actually. You will keep, that is fine. If you will not keep, that is also fine. So by default super is there, which is called the my class constructor, right? So please understand that one of the important part here, how do you call the parent class constructor using the abstract class, because abstract class will not have a abstract class cannot be instantiated, right? And a constructor can be called by the instance or object only, right? So this time I am saying, okay, constructor of the abstract class can be called by the child class constructor having a by default super, so it will call directly to the parent class constructor, right? So that is the difference. Now the rule will come, right? Why constructor required? What constructor does? Why constructor required? That is also one of the important part here, right? Why do we use constructor? So constructor does use to initialize a variable, right? If you can look the constructor part, right? It was, I think, there in the recording. If you did not watch, please watch it, right? You can get from the playlist. So why constructor is required? It does initialize the variable. What does it means? So that is only that some scenario will come that interview may ask you in which scenario I can go with the interface and in which scenario I may go with the abstract class, right? Because both are doing the same kind of things. Only the difference is that abstract class will have a constructor, interface cannot have a constructor. Rest of the things all look like the same only, right? Then when I can decide, okay, when I can go with the abstract class or when can I go with the interface? So tell me, listen me, okay? So what happened here, right? I am writing a one x variable here, right? So suppose I want to change the value of x here, right? Then what happened, right? I can get this variable here also, right? So what I can do here I can simply write x equal to 100. So this time what happened, right? I have one variable in the parent class whose name is x, which is having a 10 values, right? The same value what I am doing here, I am modifying it, this dot x equal to 100. What I am doing here, I am modifying here I think super will be the first line only. So let me keep it super here. As I told, right, super cannot be in the second line. I think that I've covered when I was covering that constructor part, right? If you will write here this dot x equal to 100, then what happened, right? It is directly modifying the x class variable. I mean, not x class variable, my class variable into a child class. So whenever you want to modify the variable of the parent class through the child class, right? So this time if I will display 100, I mean x variable, right? Like for example, in this test, where is the test? This one only, right? Let's say I'm going to display here the x value. Let's say under this here itself, I can display the value of x, right? In the child only. What does it display for me? It will display me the 10 or 100. Let's see what does it display. It is giving me 100 only. Because we are modifying this variable. X is not a variable of the my child class. X is a variable of the my class only, right? So the x is a variable of the my class, right? And this is going to override into a child class. Not overriding, modifying. I mean kind of modifying that into a child class, right? So that means the value of x is going to change, right? Through the child only. But in interface, what am I, right? Suppose I created one variable here like int of x equal to say like 100, right? Now x is 100 here. Now I'm going to the child class, and here we know the child class can have a constructor, right? So I can write here my interface child, right? It is a constructor. So here constructor we are writing under the child class only, not right under the interface. Okay, remember that. And what I'm doing here I'm keeping this dot x equal to suppose 1000. This time it will give me error. And what does it say, right? Cannot assign a value to a final variable x, because the interface variable is final, that cannot be modified into a child class in a constructor, right? But in the abstract class we can do it, right? So that is a scenario only where you can pick interface or abstract class, right? So when I can go with the abstract class, right? Let me write down this, right? Abstract class we can pick if we want to reassign a value of parent class through the child, right? So whenever a parent having some variable, right? If we want to reassign a value, right? Value of a variable in child class through the, okay, let me write this one only, right? If we want to reassign a value of a variable in a parent, if we want to in a child only, not parent, in a child class, right? If we want to reassign a value of a variable in a child class, so that variable will be from the which class? The variable will be from the parent class only. It could not be from the child class, from the parent class, right? So that variable value we are going to change from the child class, then we can go with the abstract class. Reverse, whenever we want to go where, like if we do not want to override or we do not want to change the value of that parent class into a child, then I can go with the interface. An interface having a one more advantage, right? That we are going to cover. Interface having a one more advantage. What? Interface can implement multiple inheritance. With the help of interface, right, we can achieve multiple inheritance. How does it do? That we will look. Okay. So if you want to achieve multiple inheritance, right, and that is one problem, right? Multiple inheritance, I told you, right? Two parents and one child, right? Two parents and one child. So we have like this kind of scenario, right? That time I will always go with the interface only, not like abstract class. So abstract class we do is very rare when I am 100% sure that I am going to override the value of the variable into a child class, then only I can go with abstract class. Otherwise I will always pick the interface only, because interface will avoid one restrictions of multiple inheritance which was not applicable, which was not implemented using the abstract class. So that is one of the important features of interface, right? Please guys watch this video carefully. It is one of the important kind of part of object-oriented programming as well as the complete Java implementation, right? When you will look that kind of solid principle, right? So in Java programming, we have a solid principle, single responsibility principle, right? Liscop, and more of the principle is completely based on this abstraction only, right? So watch it carefully. If you have any issue, please rewatch it, and you can put me on comments as well. Yeah. So till that we are covering that abstract class and interface only on this. And one more thing which is missing here, how can we implement multiple inheritance using interface, that we are going to cover into a next session. Okay guys, thanks for watching. If you like the video, please subscribe it. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye.